Hello, everybody. This is your girl, Miss Maggie T with Lush Exchange. And if you're new to the channel, I want you to hit that subscribe button so you won't miss another post from me. But I definitely want to go ahead and get into the importance of checking in on your mental health. And you definitely got to do that daily if you can help it. And it kind of inspired me from my interview I had with Miss A to B at Mom First Alwayz with a Z. In that description, we'll have that link. I kind of gave a little bit about my life in that interview, just to get everybody to get to know who I am beyond the Atlanta Falcons Nation news and content I do. My, personal uploads like these, as well as Lush Exchange. A lot of people don't know the person behind Maggie, Miss Maggie T. So check that out. Definitely, it is loaded, and it was a great interview I had. But it inspired me to get into why mental health checks are important. I want to start you off with this quote. Give yourself permission to unplug and regroup without feeling guilty. You can't be there for others if you don't take care of yourself first. And absolutely. If you don't take care of yourself, how do you think you can take care of someone else? It's something that we always say on Lush Exchange. You have to get that mental health in check. And that starts with your weekly personal mental health check-in, especially during this coronavirus. You got to do that first. And of course, as the news, broke out last year that we were staying in home for an extended period of time, it left us scrambling. What I'm saying? What kind of word am I saying today? Scrambling. Wondering what we're going to do. The world went into a panic. Of course, the shelves was bare. Food was very little. You had to learn how to survive. You had to learn how to protect your family. You were afraid to go outside. Everything became virtual learning, virtual work. Some people wasn't even working. And we waited on the government to send us a check. And sometimes these checks wasn't helping much. Could have put a couple of bites of food in your mouth. But your bills were so piled up, it definitely didn't do any damage to what was owed for some people. So as we was going through this political war, our livelihoods was suffering from it. And this is why it is the most important, especially now, to keep on top of your mental health. Many people will not be able to catch up with friends and family members for some time, even though it's starting to get a little easier as these vaccines are coming out and everybody is just pretty much taking their chances with it. Some people are still fearful. That's understandable. But not seeing your family and friends, sometimes they often don't get to see the changes in your ability to cope. For now, you need to do some check-ins for yourself, especially if you haven't just really ventured out into really going amongst people as of yet. Especially the kids that are doing this virtual learning and they just been, in this home for quite some time. You have to check on your mental health weekly. And let's start it off. Feelings. Set an alarm on your phone or a reminder in your calendar. So at a set time each week, you can quickly do a check-in on a scale from 0, which is not at all, to 10, extremely. of how stressed, anxious, or down you are feeling. It is normal for those scores to go up and down each day and throughout the week, but if you notice the scores are increasing and remaining very high, then it's time to prioritize your mental health, your body. Take a moment to notice any tension in your body, like tight shoulders, chest, or jaw. Other signs that you might be feeling stress includes dryness of the mouth, difficulty breathing, and a racing heart. Check that. Sleep. Have there been changes in your sleep pattern? If you are constantly struggling to get to sleep, waking in the middle of the night or waking earlier than usual, and finding it difficult to get back to sleep, these are signs your mind is unable to switch off and relax. Some people just don't know how to shut down. I'm one of them. Definitely. Thoughts. Are you always worrying about the worst case scenarios? Wondering if things will ever get better or if you will be able to cope? Focusing on what the what if is scenarios is not useful, and it's best to try to limit this as much as possible. Sometimes you just overthink things and you worry yourself a lot more. And then your reaction behaviors. Every day brings challenges, but it's how we deal with them which shows how we're coping. If you find yourself frequently snapping at those you love, finding it extremely difficult to focus, or always depending on things like alcohol or food to cope, it is time to prioritize your mental well-being, because these things that you're doing is harming you. It's not helping. It's not fixing the situation. Especially with drugs and alcohol, it definitely takes a long-term effect on you. And what an example of the wonderful DMX. He's definitely coping with some demons of his own, and drug is a coping mechanism for him, but it's definitely not the best. And now he's had an overdose and he's fighting for his life currently. Don't let that become you. Seek help. Stop using other methods, unhealthy methods of coping. And then get you a check-in buddy. Choose a check-in buddy, definitely. This may be your partner, housemate, or even a friend or colleague you're keeping in touch with, video messaging, because it's COVID now. We haven't been face to face in quite some time. Some people are starting to bold it out and go out and enjoy themselves, getting the vaccine, etc. So it's getting a little better, but it's not over. And being honest about how you are coping with your friends. Remember that you are in physical isolation, not social isolation. When we're at home, we may need to be creative about adapting the strategies we normally use. For example, if socializing helps your mood, schedule a virtual coffee meeting. If going to the gym helps you reduce stress, try an online workout. If taking time out helps, find a quiet place, take a deep few breaths, go for a walk, or listen to music. And what to do if you are not coping? If you take the steps above and notice that you are not coping, you can make a self-care plan. Draft a plan of action and enlist a supportive person to help you stick to it. Do activities to help reduce your anxiety. Try to do some physical activity or get some fresh air each day. Even just an hour of exercise a week has been proven to lower depression and anxiety. Try to do something that gives you a sense of pleasure and or achievement each day. This could include eating a nice meal, reading a book, joking with friends, listening to music, tidying up around your home or work task. Notice when you are thinking in unhelpful ways. Ask yourself, is there another more helpful way I could think about this situation? Just kind of analyze everything. Am I thinking too much into this? And lastly, if these coping mechanisms doesn't help you, especially with the weekly check-ins, seek professional help when you need it. If you're feeling very anxious or sad for more than 2 weeks, it is time to get professional help. There are a range of free and low-cost online programs that you can access from home now and complete anonymously or with the support of a healthcare professional. It's most important to do these things because we always kind of check in on our physical health, but what about our mental health? And I definitely want to get into the reason why it's most important as well to seek a professional help. Definitely at least once a year for yourself. If you can do more, that's even better. Because, unfortunately, many of us just don't think about taking care of our mental health until there is a problem. Sometimes when it's just a little bit too late. And why is it important to monitor that health? As it turns out, we just push mental health awareness to the side because we feel like, oh, I got this. I can handle this with whatever I decide to do to fix my issue. And a lot of times we end up harming ourselves more than helping ourselves. But the importance is it's because of prevention. Suicide prevention included. It highlights the need to head off problems before they become uncontrollable. A mental health checkup can identify potential problems or stressors early on before they grow into a full-blown clinical condition. Not everything has to involve a therapist or anything like that or diagnosis. In addition to treatment, it's usually easier to detect it early in the stages of your life to prevent anything to get any worse. Definitely. And then education. A checkup also teaches you about your needs, so you have a better understanding of what's normal for your particular circumstances. For example, people in their 20s might worry about certain things different than someone that's older. They might think about worrying about meeting a partner, maybe paying off student loans. Your peers are being your friends. You got the stresses of trying to fit in and be something that you may not be. While people in their 50s might be dealing with possible empty nest, caring for aging parents as well, So the more you know about what's normal for your life stages and situations, the better prepared you are to deal with these challenges. So speaking to a professional is definitely recommended. Monitoring. At different ages, our risk for certain conditions changes. Regular check-ins with a mental health professional help you be aware of transformations over time because people don't think about that. For example, conditions like schizophrenia often present itself in the early 20s. Additionally, although we all experience some cognitive decline with age, some symptoms suggest problems such as dementia that needs further evaluation. Those who have established mental health diagnosis also may need to be assessed for flare-ups because these things do happen. Just like chronic medical conditions such as arthritis or asthma, it's helpful to check our mental health symptoms to make sure you're doing okay. And a lot of people kind of get anxiety about uh, what goes on in a mental health check. So I'm going to give you, what's involved in the checkup. Unfortunately, unlike regular medical care, when you're encouraged to get an annual physical, mental care is often treated differently. And we just pretty much ignore it. Many people just don't seek help until, like I said, the problem develops more. But it's okay to check on your mental health as a preventive measure, if you can think about that, just as you would schedule a checkup with your physician. So, while the format of a check-in may vary from provider to provider, especially during this pandemic, it's more virtual. So it's a little bit more less tense sitting in front of a person. Some people are very nervous about that, but now it can be virtual. But here's are some common topics you might come across. Sleep and appetite. Changes in sleep and appetite can be early symptoms of a mental health disorder. Similarly, I just swear I be messing up words. If medical problems or life changes, a stressful new job, a breakup, disrupt these essential functions, your mental health can suffer. While it may feel like a chicken and egg scenario to discover whether a life event is causing the mental health issues or vice versa, healthy sleep and appetite are important to overall well-being, and if there are significant changes to either, may indicate a mental health issue. Mood disorder symptoms, something my daughter kind of goes through. She's been diagnosed with it, so I'm very familiar with it. Mood disorder symptoms might include sadness, irritability, loss of interest in usual activities, fatigue, or extremely high energy, feelings of hopelessness or helplessness, or even thoughts of hurting yourself for others. Any of these symptoms should be discussed during a checkup. Of course, anxiety symptoms, something I definitely deal with on a daily. People with anxiety disorders may experience symptoms such as fear, panic, rapid breathing, or heart palpitations. If there is a history of trauma, they may experience intrusive thoughts of nightmares about the trauma or feel constantly on guard. Anxiety can also cause people to engage in repetitive routines and check-in behaviors, like the ones I spoke about earlier. Talk with your mental health provider about these symptoms during your checkup as well. There are other mental health disorders, such as hallucinations, paranoia, confused thinking, or memory problems can reflect other disorders of perception or cognitive functioning. These disorders are less common but tend to be more severe and can greatly impact a person's life, especially untreated. Let your provider know if you have these experiences, definitely. Substance abuse. The therapist will likely assess your use of alcohol or drugs, including how often and how much you use, and whether you've ever had any withdrawal symptoms. And one note, therapists usually aren't required to report any illegal substance abuse. They can also explain your confidentiality rules so you can feel comfortable being honest. Important so that they have the full picture of your overall wellness. It's also vital to give as much specific details as possible so a therapist can arrange the best treatment for these complex situations. And then your stressors and coping skills. Things such as work, friends, and family, money, and spiritual needs are also commonly assessed to identify areas for intervention. In addition, A therapist can assess your current coping strategies and their effectiveness so you can make improvements if necessary. So should you get a mental health checkup? Absolutely yes. And of course, our medical culture has only begun to turn the corner to try to treat mental health as seriously as physical health. There have been increasing efforts in wellness and prevention to improve our overall quality of life, not just your physical body. Luckily, the medical community has come to understand that it's easier and cheaper to prevent problems than to treat them after they develop, worsen, or become severe. So, and mental health professionals know it's just important to be proactive with your mental health as well as your physical. So that's where it's always best to take part in that World Mental Health Day, because it's just so many resources during that time frame that is sometimes even free, So either seek a professional or definitely speak to somebody you trust and love. That's all I have for you guys today. Just wanted to stress the importance of getting your mental health in check, people. Let go of those toxic people. Do not feel bad about taking yourself in and checking in on your mental. Even if you have to check in on yourself and you just kind of separate yourself from the world just a little bit to get that intact, it's okay. Don't feel like it's a selfish thing to do to get your mental in check. It's okay. It's definitely okay. And guess what? You'll come out a lot better when you do so, because you will recognize when something is not right about you and you can fix it. Okay? But until the next time, people, please share out this content. I hope this message did find you well. And subscribe. Definitely appreciate it, people. Please drop a comment. Let me know if this kind of helps you just a little bit. And I would love to know about your journey. If you are going through these stages, your story helps another person. I appreciate you guys. And I'm out. Peace.